Hey there. So, it's been a little while. And I've just had this guilt eating away at me about not getting back to Rosemary. Um, so, if you're just tuning in for the first time, uh, this woman, Rosemary Kent, who lives in Burkittsville, I want to say Burkittsville, Alabama, Massachusetts, Maryland, something like that. Let me look that up. Burkittsville, Maryland. All right, so it's Lady Rosemary Kent. She got in contact with me about her missing son, Liam. Not sure how she got my contact info, who recommended her to me to her, but she seems to think that I'm capable of figuring out what happened to him. Uh, she sent me a bunch of stuff last week, or a couple of weeks ago. I was able to work out where Liam was headed right before he disappeared. And using that lead, she was then able to find even more clues about Liam's disappearance. And she sent those to me right away. And I've been working through them. And last week, about a week ago, went through a bunch of those materials and I found some coded messages. And I was just working through deciphering those. Um, really, really sick this week. Just like could not get out of bed sick. And so I wasn't able to finish deciphering the messages as quickly as I had planned to. But I finally got them all done. So I want to share them with you guys, see if you have any insights into this. And then also, I'm going to send my findings over to Rosemary right now. There's still a couple of things that I need to look over first before I send her my findings, but basically, I think I've found the solution. So she, in her last letter to me, she said, I need you to find the name of the person Liam was talking to and send it to me in the tip line. I think I found that. So I just want to go through each of these things one thing at a time. First of all, she sent Liam's pencil case, and inside was some sort of a carving. And this carving has the same types of symbols on it. Same types of symbols on it as some of the coded messages that Liam has been passing back and forth. And the symbols actually spell out the name, Liam. So that's clue number one. Somebody, he did not just come into possession of this, but this was actually carved for him, or he possibly carved his own name into it. Exhibit 2, a bunch of messages back and forth using pages taken from Liam's notebook between Liam and some unknown person, many of them written also in sort of a cipher. And I have gone through, I've deciphered all of these messages. Also found among Liam's things was these journal pages from Liam's father, who has been dead for quite some time. This was very disturbing to Rosemary. And there were some other materials as well, but these are the main ones that I'm going to be going over today, as well as this pamphlet for the Burkittsville History Museum, because our Sir Liam was very fond of using this device, which appears to be a normal ballpoint pen. But if you actually write in it, I will demonstrate a piece of paper here. If I actually try to write, let's say, hi, it does not write. But this won't show up very well, but it does create, it's very difficult to do this mirrored. It does create hidden disappearing ink messages. So Liam's been leaving those in a lot of places. And I know there are some in here. So today we're going to go through this, and we're also going to go through these correspondences with the messages deciphered. All right, so I'm going to start with this. So I'm just going to go read through this whole thing again, but with the proper messages deciphered, okay? So this is Liam at first. I know you're out there. I see you in the forest all the time. And I bet that you're watching me leave this note for you right now. Who are you? Come on. This note's been on the path for days. There's no way you haven't seen it. Answer me, or I'll call the cops and tell them there's a weird man following me. Answer, or I'll stop coming out into the woods. And then the mysterious person answers using this system of symbols. I'm not very talkative. Liam, what does that mean? Mysterious person. Can you understand this? Liam, question mark, question mark, question mark. Mysterious person. Come on, try a little harder. I know you can do it. Liam, okay. So that took me forever to work out, but I think I get it now. Then encode like this. Yes, that's it. Very clever. Your father must have been very proud. Liam, I think he was, or at least I hope so. You know, I thought you were him at first. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead because most of this page was not in code. What are you doing? Who are you? I'm more of an absence than a presence. Not a witch, not a human, not a friend, not a foe, not alive, not dead. You're not the Blair Witch? No. Although I hear her sometimes, I feel the compulsions she seeds into my heart. Can't you? Liam, sometimes I kind of go numb and then just sort of act without thinking. Other times a thought pops into my head, feels like it's not even mine. Is that her? It happens the most often when I'm out walking in the forest. She appears in many different ways. Liam, in code. What's your name, anyway? Mysterious person. You can call me Carver. So there we have it. How long have you been out here? As you said, time works differently in the forest. Then, do you like my gift? I found it for you in a very old hollow. Liam, how did you get that? I have my ways. Liam, that note was written before I was born. It should be nothing but pulp now. As you said, time works differently in the forest. It really does? Things that should be gone are still out there? Things and occasionally people. Then Liam asks, is my dad out in the woods? Please just tell me. If he was, I could help you find him. I can't stand to see a family torn apart. You know, he wasn't able to finish his last words to you before he choked on his own blood, but what he wanted to say was, thank God that you're all right. How do you know that? I'm connected to this place and everything in it. Living and dead, and somewhere in between. Okay, fine. Please help me find him. I'll do anything. I require no payment besides the satisfaction of reuniting a family. Whenever you're ready. And then Liam wrote, tomorrow night. So that's their full correspondence. So I'm feeling the person we're looking for is somebody named Carver. Is that a nickname? Are we going to be able to find out who Carver actually is? I don't know. But Carver is definitely the name that they went by in the correspondence. And I also have these journal notes from Liam's father. And I'm just going to read the deciphered parts here. Let's see. So he stumbled on a strange little hollow by total chance after I'd gotten into some knockdown drag-out fight with my mother and run away from home. There was no outside sound at all. Second thing that struck me was a thing at the center of the place. A twisted, hollow stump of a tree with bark as white as maggots. I remember Anthony talking about the Blair Witch being tied to a twisted white tree. Then he wrote in code, I felt in my gut that this was the same one. I used to go out to the hollow a few times a week, always in the daytime. I'd write in my journal and while away the hours, which seemed to pass in a matter of minutes out there. One time in the hollow, I wrote a note that I never intended to send to a girl who I knew was miles out of my league. Couldn't bring myself to throw it out or destroy it, but I was too mortified to keep it anywhere that another living soul might be able to find it, so I shoved it in the very back of the hollow hole of this tree. Then, in code, Rosemary asked me to get dinner with her at the Silver Moon the very next day. Then I always liked the image of paper, the pulp of a desiccated tree being buried within a tree that was dead itself. I like the thought of Rosemary's and my love notes returning to the earth while our bodies are still out in the real world alive. Death doesn't always mean finality, not when love remains. But the recurring nightmares that I've started to have about this place lately has been enough to scare even me away. Almost every night I dream that I'm buried underneath that stump. I try to claw my way up, but I never make it to the surface. Ever since I've started having that dream, I felt a stronger pull to the forest than ever before. Was I ever going out there of my own free will at all? Either way, I have a strange feeling that if I ever visit that hollow again, I'm not going to be able to come back. I'm still going to have to go into the forest sometimes for my livelihood. After all, I've got a family now, and they're going to depend on me for a long time. But I can be careful. I'll keep leaving before sunset. I'll never, ever bring any of this up to Rosemary. You shouldn't have to worry about it, not when she's going to have a new child on her hands so soon. And then lastly, we've got this little pamphlet here. So we've got some hidden messages in here. I said we've got some hidden messages in here. Again, I really don't think that it shows up on this webcam, but there's definitely some hidden writing in here. You can kind of see it. So I'm going to attempt to decipher this. All right. First one, right here. It says, "Is she real?" There's a little note here. And it says, "You know she is." I'm going to have to see. So I think I'm just going to read through this, and then I'll try to decipher these as I go. That's the only one that I really took a look at ahead of time, but I've got my alphabet handy, so it shouldn't be too bad. I think easier than writing it down. See the forest for the trees. Burkittsville, Maryland has a rich history. The Battle of Burkittsville saw a tactical win for Union soldiers during the Civil War, and several of the buildings on Main Street have stood where they stand for centuries. And of course, what Burkittsville is chiefly known for is its local folklore. Legend has it that an old witch resides in her Black Hills forest, cursing those who set foot into her woods. Is she real? You know she is. Many, believers and skeptics alike, have taken the pilgrimage to fair Burkittsville to ask this very question. While you'll find a wide range of answers among those who live and work in Burkittsville, history tells us that the earliest residents of this area certainly believed in her. Where Burkittsville now sits was once a town known as Blair, although the town's residents fled the area in the late 1700s. It wasn't until 1824 that Burkittsville was officially chartered. And the rest, as they say, is history. There's a quote: "If you're trying to find the truth behind all the stories, you need to visit the Burkittsville History Museum." That's from Uncle Chili Chrissy. No, users Chili Chrissy on 5Square. Not Uncle Chrissy. We've got a nice little photo here. Right. And there's another message here. So using our code, it looks like WHE, where it's extremely difficult to read this with an overhead light. I'm going to turn off the overhead light. It might get a little dark in here, so don't get freaked out on me. That'll give us some kind of light, right? There. Much better. Okay. So. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is much better. You probably still can't see the hidden messages very clearly. I certainly can. I can see them much better. All right. All right, where something it looks like an INTO T, yeah, into the woods. Where to? Into the woods. There it is. Many. So where to? Into the woods. All right, good. Let's see if we can find any more. Well, here. Yeah, okay, so there's one on this page here. There's something written on the spines of these books. That looks like a Y O U S HOULD. You should. So this is written next to it. It says, "Do you fear the Blair Witch?" You should. Then down here, it says, M. Made of wood from the forest super natural proper properties, made of wood from the forest, supernatural properties. So that must be a reference to this local flavor. And then I see some sketches of trees. It's not really so much in the lines of hidden messages, but we've got a couple of sketches of trees on here. And anything else before I turn the lights on? Yep, there's another one up there. And there's one on the back as well. there at the top. All right. So above a picture of some creepy looking dolls, it says, "We, question mark, couldn't even mention what is that one? Couldn't even mention Dad. You didn't reno. I think it's saying renovate anything. You didn't renovate anything." Is referring, I believe, to the renovation. All right, let's get back. Lights on. Have we done this one? No, we haven't done the one on the back yet. This is the most important one, right? I wish I didn't have to. She's the only one who can help me. Wish I didn't have to. She's the only one who can help me. Extremely suspicious. Okay. So, now to read the actual text. About us. The Burkittsville History Museum is one of the oldest, proudest institutions in our historic community, dedicated to collecting historical texts, land records, regional folklore, and more. A recent fire threatened this historic building, but we're proud to have renovated the Burkittsville History Museum, ensuring the architecture remains faithful to even the earliest documented incarnations of the building. We're proud to have renovated. Couldn't even mention Dad. Local flavor. Do you fear the Blair Witch? You should. Well, rather than go hiking through her woods, come enjoy our collected writings on some of her most infamous haunts. The Burkittsville History Museum boasts the largest collection of material related to life in historical Blair, as well as the art and craftsmanship of its residents. Take some pictures of the artifacts you've discovered in the woods to remember your trip. The Burkittsville History Museum staff was very friendly, knowledgeable, and gave me tons of stories to share with my friends. User Call Me Dr. Pritchard on 5 Square. Wonder what that carving that he was referred to. Maybe that was the carving in his pencil case. Then local events. Burkittsville History Museum is a proud sponsor of many local events. Our Fairtown is bursting with fun activities and public events, many free of charge. Whether you want to learn more about the rich history of Burkittsville or you have a story to share, there's an event for you. such as the Battle of Burkittsville and Not So Civil War, guided tours of Old Blair, open mic, This Is Really Happening, the real story of the Blair Witch, The Past Comes to Life, run by the Greater Frederick County Historical Preservation Society. So, again, just some ephemera to go through. I didn't really see anything that useful in there in terms of answering today's riddles, but I think we have a name at the very least for Rosemary. So let's get to kentcase.com and let her know what we found. Okay. So before we put our info in the tip line, I'm going to read, I didn't read her blog entries from last week yet. So let's go through that. Wednesday, 3:30. Everyone's comments on that neighborly site are really starting to piss me off. Nobody has any business speculating or gossiping on whatever you want to call it about my son. And those comments don't do anything but make folks believe Liam isn't out there. I know he is. I know we can find him. Thursday, 8:23 a.m. I had a dream of last night about Liam and Hud. They were walking through the forest toward a tall creature with sharp claws and long dark hair covering its body. Then a cold black fog rose up, and I could feel the air freezing their bones. I couldn't tell if they started screaming or laughing then, but the noises they made woke me up. Friday, 6:39 p.m. When Hud passed, Liam was there for Tristan in ways I couldn't be. Though they fight and bicker like every pair of siblings, Liam needed Tristan, and Tristan needed Liam. Tristan hasn't been coping well these past few weeks. Sunday, 6:17 p.m. I tried to call Jess earlier today just to talk. She was polite, but a little cagey. I know I make her uncomfortable because she wants to put this place behind her, but I'd still hoped she could put all the baggage she has about this town aside for just a moment to support her little sister. Seems like that's too much to hope for, though. As soon as I mentioned the forest, she did a theatrical little yawn and mentioned how early it was for her. What with the time difference, I took the hint and hung up. Monday, 2:56 a.m. Haven't got much sleep lately. I keep staying up all night, crying until my eyes dry themselves out, and I feel a sort of stillness come over me. Sometimes, when I'm all alone in the middle of the night, wrung out like that, it seems like there's not going to be a world to wake up to in the morning. Like the universe has been reduced down to the isolated little bubble of me and my sadness. Can't let that feeling win. I need to remember what's still out there. Saturday, 11:33 a.m. Stepping into Liam's room still feels like I'm violating something sacred between us. But I keep wondering if I've overlooked something vital to finding him. I keep hoping that maybe there's a letter to me that I haven't found yet. I keep looking at his bed, wanting to tuck him in, like I did when he was younger. Monday, 1:20 p.m. Lanning called me yesterday morning for once instead of the other way around. He finally heard that I brought in outside help, and he has the nerve to condescend to me about it. He told me it wasn't healthy for me to be chasing false hope. I rushed him off the phone. He's just jealous I've gotten far closer to Liam without him. So that's that. Now we've gone through everything for clues. I think we've got enough information to contact her with the tip line. All right. I'm going to write her a little email here. Rosemary. Person Liam was writing to goes by, let's see, Carver. Let's try this. Okay. So I sent her a message. The person's name is Carver. Let's see if she sends a reply.
Carver? Liam was talking with someone who called themselves Carver. I recognize the name. Something like 20 years ago, a boy was taken into the forest. Or maybe he wandered in. I don't know. When they sent people out to look for him, they found all kinds of strange carvings on the trunks of trees. People in town started to call whoever left those markings the Carver, and the name stuck. God, I wish Jess were here. Or that I could get her on the phone for more than 5 minutes. She never understood why I stayed in this town. I guess I understand where she was coming from. Whoever this complete and utter son of a bitch may be, we're clearly dealing with someone twisted. I mean, who knows what he's done to Liam, or what he could still be doing. No. If I think about that, I'm gonna lose it. You know what? This will help us get the search parties going again. Sheriff Lanning has a personal stake in this now. When his uncle was sheriff in the 90s, he oversaw the Carver case. I'm going to call Lanning's office right now, and then we're going to round up anyone who will follow me into the forest. I'm going to go back in there, and I'm going to find Carver. And when I do, I'm going to make him feel the same misery and pain that he's put my family through.
Wow. So I guess I'll wait and see if I hear from her again.